Welcome to lesson 53 of the Content Modeling Weekly course. I'm Marcelo Lewin, the Headless Creator. As always, right there, Marcelo at headlesscreator.com. Send me an email with questions, comments, whatever you like. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Today, we're going to be analyzing a couple of career pages, one from Google and one from Salesforce. I just picked those randomly. There's absolutely no reason why I did. Well, there's a particular reason. They're a bit complicated from a content modeling perspective, so I wanted to make sure we could do something that wasn't as easy, right? And we're going to analyze the pages, and then we're going to create the content model for each of them. Then you can take that content model and put it in your own Headless CMS for testing purposes. So having said that, let's jump into the lesson. Let me show my screen here. I'm going to rearrange a couple of things so it's just easier to work with. There we go. And of course, I'm going to take a little bit of water here. And let's jump in. So as you can see, here I'm in the Salesforce career page, and I just picked anything from just so we can list the jobs. Also here I'm in the Google career page, again with we have list of jobs, and you have some filters that you can filter by. Same with Salesforce, you can filter by a couple of things. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into Miro, right, which is the tool that I use to start the process. And remember, for starting the content modeling process, you want to do it all on a tool first, not jump into your Headless CMS. Don't jump into development. And if you want to review, look at the content modeling principles in previous lessons, and you'll see one of them is do it all on a tool first. So anyway, having said that, let's start by analyzing the page. So, and this is how I run my content modeling sessions, but this is my recommendation for you running your content modeling sessions as well. Assuming that, we've already spoken to marketing and we have a team of people that agreed, we can start looking at this page and we could say, okay, well, we have jobs, and jobs seem to have categories. They seem to belong to a country and then also have a location. And they seem to have a job type, and if they're full-time or part-time. So at a minimum, we're going to have these are going to be either attributes or they're going to be other content types, and we'll have to figure that out. But for a location, which is something important to understand, is if I pick United States, you're going to see that here we should see, and I think this site has been running a little bit slow today, so we may have to jump into the Google. I don't know, it always happens, right? Murphy's Law. Anyway, it would filter the locations to show only the locations in, there you go, in United States, right? So if we get rid of that, of course, it's going to take a little while, and then pick India, it would show only locations in India. So that means that our content model has to be able to support that kind of filtering, right? You can see we can't just show every location for one country. It has to be specific to that country. So having said that, let's just start. Let's jump into the content model. And we know, we'll start with the Salesforce one, right? We know that we're going to have a jobs or a job content type. And the job is going to have an internal name, so that way your authors, that's my standard. Your authors can name that job whatever they want, and it's only for searching purposes within the Headless CMS. And then it's going to have a title. So that's the basic thing right there, right? I mean, that now I can create 1 million jobs with a title, basically. Let's go back to the Salesforce one here. We're going to look at the details in just a minute, but let's figure this out here. We have job categories. So we know that we're going to need we'll do job category, and we're going to say that it has a title. We'll keep it simple, and we'll just say title for now. Here, we're going to have an entry called, or an attribute, categories, which is going to be one to many. We're going to enforce at least one to job category. Okay. So this is a reference field, right, that we're going to have. So now we can create as many jobs as we want with as many categories for that job. So that means when we filter, let's go back to here. Let's put this here so that way it's easier. We can start filtering by those categories, and then the jobs would appear there because we're supporting that in here, right? We have a one to many. Next up is, I keep going to that one. let's close this up, is location country. But before we create this, we know we have a country, but then we have locations within that country. So what I recommend here is that we create a country content type, right? Which will have name and maybe country code, right? We'll do that. But we're not gonna do a reference to country. What we're gonna do is we're gonna create a job location, which will be country. It'll be 121 to country. And then it's gonna have a location, which is gonna be a field. So let's put this here. Let's start organizing some of our stuff. So this is going to be a reference field. And for those of you that follow me, you know that I have this standard where reference fields are this yellow color. All right. And if you have any questions, put them in chat. I'll answer them as soon as I can. Okay. So here we have job location. And it basically has a country with a location field. It's going to be a type short text. Type, right? Or whatever type in your Headless CMS is, that's just a text field. And what that allows me to do, it'll say United States, for example, and then San Francisco, and then United States and New York, or India and Mumbai, right? Or whatever you want to put in here. And this will support single source of truth because we can have United States and have the location, and we'll have multiple entries for United States. So we're going to create here a locations, which is going to be one to many to job location. So let's do that. And now that means that a job has to belong to at least one location, but it can have many locations, right? Because that job can appear in many locations. And they'll be able to either add a new entry or link to a particular entry. For example, United States, San Francisco, right? So they'll be able to click on link to an entry and then filter by country, and then they'll see all the locations, and then you can just select that. So that will support, if we go back here, if I click on United States, I'm not going to do that because I think it's taking a while right now, but if I click on United States, you're going to filter all the locations there. You can see California, San Francisco, California remote. You can do that. So now we're able to create many jobs, each job having multiple categories, at least one, and each job belonging to at least one location, but possible multiple locations. We can create here as many locations as we want based on a country, right there. We can do this so that way it's easier to, there we go, like that. And now we're starting to build this content model. So we're slowly able to create the page. Now notice here something is we didn't say, hey, there's a right-hand side, there's a left-hand side, and that is more for a landing page and displaying the jobs in that landing page. And if you want to learn how to do landing page, I have lesson number 3 of the Content Modeling Weekly. I'll teach you how to bring in information into a landing page and build it. But here what we're building, remember when somebody says, hey, we want to build this page, you as a content architect will say, great, I'll get you this page, but let's talk about jobs, because at the end of the day, it's all about the job here. And then we can take this information and reuse it across the enterprise in various different channels, whether it's a mobile app, whether it's the website, whether it's virtual reality in the future, an IoT device, or even integrating into other systems internally, right? The core here is the job. So that's what we're building. We're building the content model for the jobs. Okay, going back, we've got categories and locations. So we've got country, we've got locations, and now we have job type. And then we have job type. We have job type, and then, yeah, I don't know what we're going to call this. I forgot what to call full-time or part-time. But, all right, we'll just have a job type, content type. Job type, which is going to have an internal name and a title. And you'll probably wonder, well, why didn't you do that here? We could do that here too. You don't really need to, but we could have just to keep the standards. And the country, you know, country is a country. You're not going to call it something different. So let's do that. Let's do this here. So it looks like if we go back to here, job type could be permanent, full-time, fixed term, intern, contractor. I would ask the team, hey, can a job have multiple types? I'm going to pretend we did ask, and we decided that no, it can only have one type. So what we're going to do is we're going to say type. It'll be one, and it has to have a type, 1-to-1 to job type. But again, as your job as the architect, you need to ask these questions, right? That's why you need a team. That's another content modeling principle. If you look back at other lessons that I've taught, the principles is you have to work with a team. You can't just work with marketing. You can't just work with a developer. You have to work with an entire team, because somebody may say, no, 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 it's only one type. And another person, oh, no, no, in this system, we use multiple types. So you need that. All right. But right now we'll pretend it's, we've asked and they all said, yeah, it's just one type. So now a job can have a type. So we've accomplished the type. And then here, full-time, I'm just going to say length. I don't know what else to call it. If you have a better idea, put it in chat. And I'm going to say length. Now, here we can do a couple of things, because it's only two. You have full-time and part-time. But let's say you want to make this scalable, and in the future you could have, you know, medium time. I don't know if there's anything in between that, full-time or part-time, basically. You could make this a value field that is pre-selected with two values, full-time or part-time, or you can make it a content type. I'm going to make it a content type here just to make it a bit more scalable. So that means an author can add a new type. But so we're going to go job length, and we're going to go internal name, and yeah, we'll just say name, this one. But again, it doesn't have to be a content type, especially if you're in a headless CMS that limits the amount of content types you can have. You might want to make this a text field that you can say, hey, only accept these two values, and make it a pull-down menu, right? But we're going to pretend we have unlimited, and we're going to say that you have to select one. It can't be both. It won't be both. Again, we asked the team, and the team said, oh, no, it's only the length will either be part-time or full-time. It can't be both. So we're going to go 1-to-1 to job length, like that. I mean, job length can also be temp. I don't know. We'll see. We'll just keep it like that for now. So now, if we review this, we can now create, we don't have the details of the job yet, but we can create as many jobs as we want that have many categories, belong to multiple locations. Locations can be filtered by country, right? Because we have that here. Can have a type, and can have a length. We can build this page without actually having these details. We're going to go into the details right now, right? But we can build this page now, and there's all the attributes that you can then pass to other systems. So now let's click on an actual entry, right? An actual job. So I'm just going to this one just because. And we can start analyzing this. So on the right, let's just go with this time. On the right, we have full-time. We're already tracking that. That's the length. We have a job code, which it seems like they're doing. So let's do that. Let's bring job here. Let's bring this up and title. And we're going to do job code, right? Because we need that. So now we have job code. Okay, about us, Salesforce, we're not going to track that here, right? That doesn't make sense to track it in every single job. This is part of your landing page. Because in reality, if I send this job to another system, they may not want this part, right? They're not going to want the about Salesforce. Now, similar jobs, again, you're not putting that here in the content model. You could put related jobs and allow authors to actually select it, but then you can also do them by any of these filters, right? You can automatically do it. Again, that's when you talk to your team and go, hey, are we going to do this automatically, or do you want to have a, for example, related jobs, which would be a 0 to many to job, right? So we could do that. And now it's up to the author, after they create this job, to click on related jobs and pick other jobs that they think they want to do. And the team may say, no, we don't want that. We want it to be automatic based on this criteria. Or yes, we want that to be only based on the author, because the author can be very specific. Or I want a mixture, which could be some related jobs and some automatic, right? But you need to talk to your team and figure that out to see which is the best way to move forward. What I'm going to do, why not, is leave related jobs and allow an author to relate other jobs that are similar, right? You can call related jobs, call it similar jobs, whatever you like.